It was the kind of night when silence had weight, a silence so thick you could almost hear it. The first story takes place in a quiet suburb in Illinois, in the dead of winter. A college student named Marissa had just returned home for Christmas break. Her parents were away on a cruise, leaving her alone in the family house. She didn't mind. In fact, she enjoyed the peace. The snow muffled the world, and everything felt like it had stopped in time. On her second night home, around 1:30 in the morning, Marissa was curled up on the couch, watching a horror movie ironically enough. Her dog, Max, a golden retriever, lay sleeping at her feet. The fireplace crackled, casting warm flickers of light across the room. That's when she heard it, tap tap tap, on the living room window. Her heart froze. She muted the movie. Nothing. Maybe a branch hitting the glass. But there were no trees that close to the window. Then she heard it again. Tap tap tap. More deliberate this time. Max perked up, ears pointed toward the window. He didn't bark, just stared. Marissa slowly stood and approached the window, hesitant but trying to be logical. She pulled the curtain aside just a sliver. No one. The streetlights cast long shadows over the snow-covered lawn. But then, something moved near the hedge. A person, a figure, partially obscured by the bush, standing perfectly still. She let the curtain drop, heart pounding. Who stands outside someone's house at nearly 2 a.m. in freezing weather? Then, a knock on the back sliding door. The backyard, that's fenced. Whoever it was would have had to come through the gate. She tiptoed to the kitchen, peeked through the blinds. And there he was. A man, no mask, pale, wide eyes, wearing a coat far too thin for the cold. And smiling, not moving, just smiling. She backed away slowly, phone still in hand. Max stood between her and the door, hackles raised now. Sirens approached in the distance. As the red and blue lights bounced off the kitchen walls, the man finally moved. Slowly, he turned and walked, back into the yard and out of sight. Police combed the area but found only a set of footprints that led through the backyard, over the fence, and into the woods beyond. No ID, no known motive, no attempt to break in. Just standing, watching, waiting. To this day, Marissa keeps the curtains drawn at night. The second story happened in a small mountain town in Oregon. A woman named Denise had recently gone through a messy divorce. She'd decided to rent a remote cabin to clear her head, reflect, and find herself again. She wasn't scared of the isolation. In fact, that's what she craved. The cabin was beautiful, old but well-maintained, surrounded by dense pine forest, with a small gravel road as the only access point. Her closest neighbor was over a mile away. No cell signal, but the cabin had a landline, a fireplace, and enough supplies for a week. The first 2 days were uneventful. She hiked during the day, journaled at night, sipped red wine, and sat by the fire. It felt healing, but on the third night, things shifted. Around midnight, Denise was reading by candlelight. A storm had knocked out the power earlier that evening. As the wind howled outside, she heard something she couldn't explain. A low creaking noise, like floorboards. But not inside. It was coming from the porch. She froze. The rocking chair. She remembered there was an old wooden rocking chair on the porch. She hadn't used it, and it had been still since she arrived. But now, it sounded like it was moving. Slowly. Creak, creak. She tiptoed to the window next to the door. The porch light was out, of course, but moonlight gave her just enough visibility. The rocking chair was swaying back and forth. Empty. No wind strong enough to move it. Then, from the tree line, something moved. A figure, unmistakable, just barely lit by the moon, tall, gaunt, wearing something that looked like a heavy coat. They didn't approach, just stood there, watching her. Denise bolted the door, pulled all the curtains shut, and backed away. She stayed awake the rest of the night, flashlight in hand, heart in her throat. No more sounds, no knock, no voice, just that rocking chair. The next morning, in daylight, she mustered the courage to step onto the porch. The chair had stopped moving. But beside it, on the wooden planks, was something that hadn't been there before. A single, wet, muddy footprint. Barefoot. She packed her things and left within the hour, driving down the winding road until she reached town. She never returned to the cabin. And when she called the property manager, he sounded unsurprised. "That's not the first time someone's asked for an early checkout," he said. "You're lucky you left when you did."